Yes, people, wife, boy, and welcome back to another Arsenal transfer news update video. Today we're discussing Youri Tielemans' potential transfer from Leicester City to Arsenal. As always, let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts. Would you like Tielemans to come to Arsenal? And while you're down there, make sure you subscribe on my road to 2,000 subscribers. So this is a player, just like Higuain was many years ago, Houssem Aouar was a few seasons ago, a player that Arsenal have been chasing for season upon season. Tielemans to Arsenal will eventually happen this January. Well, we know Arsenal have tracked this player for numerous seasons now, and last summer Arsenal were only £5 million short of Leicester's evaluation for the player, and the deal did not eventually go through. But Tielemans' contract does expire at the end of this season, June 2023, and he's still only 25 years of age and is not penning a new contract, so he will go for free at the end of this season. So Arsenal have two options. We know there's many clubs circling this player. Do we secure him now? Do we give Leicester an offer, a reduced offer because of how long is only left in his contract? Or do we try and sign a pre-contract agreement with the player and get him in the summer? Let's discuss both opportunities for Arsenal. Well, as I said, a lot of clubs are circling. We know Liverpool are looking at a midfielder. They are very short in those options. They've already signed someone like Cody Gakpo up front. If they get another midfielder in with Premier League experience, even if it is Youri Tielemans, who's not the youngest of players, it'll be extremely important for them and it'll be a great window for them so far. But Arsenal, as we know, also need midfielders. We're light in a lot of departments. We saw what happened yesterday. I reviewed Chelsea versus Manchester City on this channel, and I said the difference between Manchester City and Arsenal is they've got players off the bench that can make the difference. Arsenal do not. We had a few options off the bench. Arteta did not rate them. He did not fancy Fabio Vieira, Marquinhos. They did not take his liking, and he ran with the starting lineup he had. Well, we will not have that liberty going through to next season. We were able to rotate in Europa League games. Not anymore. In the second half of the season, we're going to have these Europa League knockout games, which are important. We cannot afford to rest these players as we're playing big sides, so we'll need the full squad. We will need two competent players in every position at least, and Youri Tielemans is exactly that. He would not come in to start for Arsenal, but he'd come in to compete with Xhaka in that position and offer some more depth in midfield and someone that can come off the bench as well. So, will Arsenal go in for this player? We know we've been chasing someone like Mykhailo Mudryk, Felix, more attacking options, which for me is a correct decision. We should be chasing those attacking options. Those are the game changers off the bench that can win us games. But we still need the midfielder. I think every Arsenal fan knows this. We know Lokonga isn't quite at it. Interestingly, him and Youri Tielemans actually came from the same club, Anderlecht. But of course, Youri Tielemans is now at Leicester. But we know Tielemans is a step up from Lokonga. He's someone that's going to have more experience already in the position and someone that can be trusted by Arteta in Europa League games and Premier League games alike. My feelings behind Youri Tielemans, though, is I think the ship has sailed a bit on him. Leicester have had a horrible start to this season. His heart clearly isn't with Leicester. We can all see that. And definitely if he gets his move, we could see a revival in his career. But I think his attitude has been really poor recently, especially in the last few seasons. When he first was at Leicester in those first couple of seasons, unbelievable, untouchable. Honestly, he could be one of the Premier League team of the season. He was that good. But just recently, this season and the season before, I've seen a real dip in Youri Tielemans' quality and his output. I'm not sure if it's an effort thing or he's just not quite being the same player. We've seen it with numerous players where they just don't quite reach the same pinnacle or the same success that they were always destined, it seemed, to reach. And he seems like one of those players. Could Arteta rekindle his career? Absolutely, and if Arsenal do sign someone like Youri Tielemans, I would be right behind it. But my thoughts on it, I think there's more interesting and better midfielders you could potentially go for in the market than Tielemans. I think Tielemans is too safe. Now, that comes with two arguments. I know a lot of people in my comments will say, well, Tielemans Premier League proven. You could say it's safe, but it's still a great signing. And I agree, because Arsenal made a lot of risky signings recently. Ramsdale, Ben White, I think we can all agree that they were risky signings, especially for the money we paid. Tielemans is more safe. You know what you're getting. He's not going to necessarily improve any much more than he already has been, but he does a job in midfield. For me, I'd rather we take a risk. I would have loved to see us in January go for someone like Bruno Guimaraes. We were chasing him, but obviously it fell through. We just didn't seem to make any contact with Lyon for a transfer, even though we were chasing the player. Newcastle ended up getting him, and what a world beater he has been. For me, we should take a risk and go for someone like Unahi from the World Cup for Morocco. He was unbelievable. Or Kudus. We know he's unhappy with Ajax, wants to play more of a box-to-box role. He could be definitely a player that could replace Granit Xhaka in that midfield. Those are two great options for this football club. Or do we hold out and go for someone big in the summer like Jude Bellingham? Should we be able to secure a Champions League spot and chase the Premier League title, we could be able to sign some lucrative players in the summer to take our quality over the top. I honestly think that's an option. This January for me, I'm not necessarily looking at centre mid options. Like if there was one position we don't address, for me it's midfield. I really want attackers in, ideally two. I want Mudryk and I want João Felix. Those are two players I want us to get. I want us to get two players that can come off the bench or start games, but either way add quality in attacking areas, because that is what will win us games. Those were the stark contrasts between Arsenal and Man City over the last games that were played. City had game changers off the bench and they combined to score the winning goal for them. Arsenal had no game changers off the bench and ultimately dropped points to Newcastle at home. We need to sign game changers this January transfer window. All the clubs have done it in previous seasons that have gone on to do great things. United signing Bruno Fernandes, they go on to get top four. Liverpool signing Luis Diaz last season, they go on to challenge and almost win the Premier League and Champions League, but also winning the FA Cup and Carabao Cup. And Tottenham, of course, signing Kulusevski and Bentancur go on to get top four from us, Arsenal. You can see January works. January isn't like a Mickey Mouse transfer window. Everyone goes, oh, it's just January transfer window. Treat it importantly. The clubs that do, they end up the ones that are achieving what they sought out to achieve at the start of the season, more often than not. And you recoup your payments. If Arsenal sign a player that gets them to win the title, for example, the money they get from winning the Premier League will recoup the money you spent on that player. It's worth it. The shirt sales, etc. They're not forward thinking enough, these clubs. We can't afford to make the same mistakes we did last transfer window. For me, we go all out and specifically for attacking options. Tielemans would be a good player and I would not be ashamed of us signing him whatsoever. But for me, I don't necessarily think it's the right move for Arsenal. I'd rather us go for attacking options and wait to get a proper sentiment, because it's an important position in the summer when we could hopefully entice someone of a top quality like the likes of Jude Bellingham, for example. I really think could be an option should Arsenal make the Champions League and go really close to win the Premier League. But yeah, let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on Youri Tielemans to Arsenal. I'd take it, but it's not my ideal signing. And while you're down there, make sure you subscribe to my road to 2,000 subscribers. I've been waiting for to see you all in my next video.